Hello, everybody. This is Gerald Salenti, and it's Tuesday, April 4th, 2023. And your new Trends Journal's coming out. Yep. And another brilliant cover by the brilliant Anthony Frieda says it all. Death of the dollar. Yep. Rest in peace. In God we don't trust. The dollar is ready to get buried. It's finito. They've had enough of United States hegemony on the war front and on the economic front. Enough is enough. China making a deal with Saudi Arabia. One after another, Russia and China. The BRICS, they've had enough of the bucks. The BRICS are breaking from the bucks. So we'll get into that deeper. But let's look at the markets today. The markets are down almost 200 points. And the big news in the morning was, you ready for this? Jamie Dimon, that's the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, that's been convicted of 5 felonies, including rigging the precious metals markets that they did for many years. Says the banking crisis is not over and will cause repercussions for years to come. No shit, blow me away. Whoa, now it's official. It's coming from the top bankster. And no one's talking about what we're talking about. And that is one of your top trends for 2023 that we had forecast 3 years ago and said this is the year it's going to become the reality. Office building bust. You have an office occupancy rate of, on average, about 50% in the 10 top states in the United States. So now people don't want to commute back and forth because in the COVID war, they said, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to travel an hour and a half, a shitty ride or a train, whatever, driving, costs money to park, go back. I hate this. I'm not doing it anymore. And I'm sitting in a shitty cubicle anyway. So now they're going back 2 or 3 days a week. And now the economy's going down. That's right. Oh, the numbers came in today on the job openings. Yep. They tumbled below 10 million. 10 million, this is the worst number in 2 years. So you go back 2 years ago, the COVID war is being fought. Stay home, don't go out. COVID's going to get you. COVID's going to get you. So jobs weren't being created. That's where we're at. So the economy is going down. This is serious. The economy is going down, and Jamie Dimon now is warning that it's going to get worse. And going back to the office building bust that nobody's talking about, with the economy going down, and you are in business and you have many office floors, you're not going to need all of them, and you need to save money, so stay home. So there's going to be defaults like we've never seen before, and we're the only ones that are highlighting this week after week, month after month, year after year. And by the way, I've just talked about what's going on. Gold prices today. Gold prices went up almost $40 an ounce. We told you this was going to happen. Now let's put it back together. Oh, the job numbers stunk, which we said they were a fraud back in January when they were so high. And now the real ones are coming out because we told you about all the temporary workers that were being laid off. That means, are they going to raise interest rates when they meet again in early May? And they may not. And the guess is on the street, they're going to raise them 25 basis points. And after that, no more raises and then start lowering them. Here's the bottom line. The lower interest rates go, the weaker the dollar gets. Death of the dollar. It's your cover of the Trends Journal. The lower interest rates go, the weaker the dollar becomes, and the dollar is on its deathbed now, and it's going to be buried. because the Saudis are going to do, the OPEC plus are going to do away with the petrodollar. Again, oil prices went up. They spiked yesterday over 6% because Saudi Arabia and OPEC plus said, hey, listen, oil prices are going down. We're cutting back on supply. It's a thing about supply and demand, that we got too much supply out there and not enough demand. And now they're dealing more with China. So they're going to be doing away with that. So now going back to the big story of what we're giving you, all of these facts and information, let's look at the Cartoon News Network and what all the mainstream media is talking about. Trump pleads not guilty to 34 felony counts. That's it. That's it. I could give a fuck about his felony counts or give a fuck about Trump. Because what does that have to do with oil prices, gold prices, office building prices, real estate? What does it have to do with inflation? Again, it's not inflation, it's dragflation we're going into. They keep repeating this crap that we're going to have stagflation. No, it won't be stagnant. The economy is going to drag down and inflation is going to keep going up. And you just saw what just happened with the oil prices. And now you're looking at Brent crude at about $85 per barrel. Now let's go to Europe, where inflation is still rocket high, particularly in the UK. Oh, and energy prices are going up again? So again, we're putting it all together for you and giving you what nobody else has, because nobody does what we do, because the trend is your friend. And we're the only ones that give you in-depth trends analysis and trend forecasts to help you prepare, prevail, and prosper in these very dangerous times ahead. Oh, and you know what else broke out? I was talking about gold. Central bank gold buying update. 2023 sees the strongest start of the year in more than a decade. And last year was a record number. So the central banksters know how bad it's getting. And silver prices went up too. But again, they rigged the markets as they convicted JP Morgan Chase of doing. So, you know, it's not a straight game. And now going into your trends journal. There's no magazine in the world like this. Nothing comes close to it. If you could find one, let me know. And again, it costs next to nothing. $2.84 a week. That's a shitty cup of coffee at a shithole that they call fast food places. So we're giving you, it costs nothing. And we're giving you what nobody else is giving you. And now we have our economic update and the market overview. And again, cash flight to money market funds worsens banks' plight. Oh, consumer spending, what did it do in February? And what did inflation do? And what are home prices doing, not only in the United States, but in Europe? And in China? Still got loads and loads and loads of apartments, particularly in the smaller cities. Trends on the global economic front. When the economy falls, jobs go with it. This is our 35th week of listing the major job losses that are going on. This is very serious. And again, now, just now, the job numbers are coming out to show you how weak it is. And what's important to get is that as they raise interest rates, it doesn't go down like that. It takes time. And the time is now, and it's going down. What else? China, the world's new bailout lender in chief. What does that mean? Well, it means that the business of America is war and the business of China is business. And the 20th century was the American century, but the 21st century is going to be the Chinese century. And then we have an update, a whole special, the big bankster bust. Spotlight on bye-bye bucks. It's right in front of you. The spotlight on the office building bust. That's just in the economic section. Then we have the Ukraine war trend update. Russia says the United States is its main adversary. We're at war. World War III has begun. Again, it's out of the news now because everybody's Trumpified. The ones that love him and the ones that hate him. Oh, and now Crimea is calling for Ukraine is calling for an attack on Crimea. And no, the Russians didn't annex it. They had a vote in 2014 when they had the coup in Ukraine, and some 96% of the people in Crimea, which has been part of Russia for centuries, going back and forth, voted to go with Russia. And we have special guest articles by Dr. Joseph Mercola and another great article by John and Nisha Whitehead, who they may be coming also at our Peace and Freedom rally. They're terrific on May 27th here in Kingston, New York. And their article is Fake News Curated by the Deep State. Government spin doctors control the news cycle. You got it. And that's why we're giving you get nowhere else. There is no magazine in the world that comes that close to the Trends Journal. Nothing. And no newspaper. And then we have featured guest articles also, Trends in Technocracy. Again, there's no one anywhere, any place that writes about technocracy like Joe Duran. I have trouble picking this book up. This is his latest book, The Human. All right? Boom. We're giving you technocracy trends that you're not getting anywhere else in the Trends Journal. Yep. One great article after another, trends in cryptos, trends in the COVID war, trends in geopolitics. This is very big. Asia is uniting. Africa is uniting. South America, Latin America are uniting against the United States. They're heading more and more toward doing business with China and Russia. They've had enough of the United States hegemony in terms of geopolitics and economics. And they have a whole bunch of trends eye views. Top trend 2023, college crash. AI, the perfect agent to rewrite human history. One great article after another. Oh, and then Trends in High-Tech Science by Ben Davis. Yep. Top trend 2023, going green, like it or not. Great articles. We're giving you everything we can that no one else is doing. And to show you the hypocrisy, by the way, I want to just mention this. The bullshit, the fucking crap that these shitheads, and again, as John and Nisha Whitehead have in their article over here about how it's just nothing more than propaganda, fake news curated by deep state. All the bullshit that NATO and the United States are invading, killing, and slaughtering people all over the world to bring freedom and democracy. Over there in France with the little pencil dick, scumbag, Macron, the little catzon, who just told the people, go fuck yourself. I don't care what Parliament says. I'm raising the retirement age. Yeah, that guy. You ready for this? This is from AFP. So this is the Agency France Presse. This is the real thing. A woman in northern France is to be put on trial on charges, you ready, of insulting President Emmanuel Macron after describing him as filth in a Facebook post. She called him filth. I call him a dirty little dick, a little fucking arrogant prick. They would kill me for that if I was in France. A prosecutor said the woman risks a fine of 12,000 euros. She was arrested on Friday and held in custody. The complaint focused on her post on Facebook on March 21st, before Macron gave a lunchtime interview on TF1 TV to defend his controversial pension reforms that have sparked nationwide protests. This is what she wrote. Quote, "This piece of filth is going to address you at 1 p.m. It's always on television that we see this filth," she wrote. The woman's in her 50s. She supported the Yellow Vest protests. Imagine that. Freedom and democracy. You're not allowed to call a scumbag a scumbag. You're not allowed to call a piece of shit a piece of shit. They're your presidents. They're your prime ministers. They're your governors. They're your mayors. They're politicians. You are just a plantation worker of Slavelandia. This crash that's happening in front of our eyes, that now even Jamie Dimon is saying that's going to keep lasting, is only going to make the bigs bigger. More businesses are going to go out of business. And the bigs will keep buying up the others. If we don't unite for freedom, peace, and justice, it's finished. And there's never been a better time than now. And by the way, remember, I'm going back several months that I've been saying that the top presidential candidate would be RFK Jr., and the best vice president would be Judge Andrew Napolitano, who, by the way, I will be doing a podcast with tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, would be the best vice president. Now, RFK Jr. is starting to do some tweets, and I think he's setting the stage to go center stage in the race for the White House coming up next year. Or, as I call it, the presidential reality show. So thanks for tuning in. And remember, subscribe to the Trends Journal if you want to know what in the world is going on, what it means, what's next, and what you might want to do. We do not give financial advice. We give you the trend forecasts. And the motto of the Trends Journal is think for yourself. There's no magazine like it. We're giving you everything we can. And the more subscribers we get, the more we can do. So support us because we're supporting you. Thank you.
Get the Trends Journal, the best investment you could make, because it's the best investment into your mind and it can change how you look at the world.
Over the last 30 years, Joe Salante has been more accurate about predicting what would be happening than anyone else I'm aware of.
The Trends Journal is one of the greatest sources of information, and and it really is. You're predicting these things well ahead of time. I would encourage everyone to go grab the latest copy.
But Trends Journal subscriber for 20 years. I just have to commend you. What you guys have put together in your latest Trends Journal, there's nothing like this out there.
Sir, everything that you predicted about the economy, you were absolutely right. So I have followed you all this time. So please take a look at the Trends Journal.
You correctly forecast that the Fed would hike rates quite aggressively, correctly said that initially gold and silver would drop as the Fed starts to raise rates to 1.5% and above. When we spoke last, Bitcoin was around 49,000. You said you expect to drop, and if it drops below 30, 35, then it could really drop.
Trends Journal, which I would encourage people to go and check out. It's actually a 200-page document, pure data-driven analysis.
Gerald Salenti, the top trends forecaster in the world. Gerald, you had an interesting call back in September of last year. You said gold had bottomed, which is exactly what happened. And here we are, and we're above $1,900.
Subscribe to the Trends Journal. Read history before it happened at trendsjournal.com.